Welcome to eDiscovery Leaders Live, hosted by ACEDS and sponsored by Reveal. I am George Socha, heading up brand awareness at Reveal. This week, we are broadcasting live from New York City at Legalweek 2024. On each episode of eDiscovery Leaders Live, I get the chance to chat with luminaries in eDiscovery and related areas. Past episodes are available on the Reveal website. Go to revealdata.com, select resources, then select eDiscovery Leaders Live. Our guest for this session is Eric Boyd, Director of Litigation Services at Locke. Eric, welcome.
George, how are you?
Okay, glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Enjoy it.
How's the conference so far?
Conference is very good so far. It's very busy, nonstop, but plenty of things to do. So thanks for having me.
Yeah. So what is it you would like to discuss with us today?
Well, a couple of years ago, we decided to bring Reveal in-house for Locke. And I thought we could talk about how Reveal has changed kind of the way we operate and changed some of the timelines and sped up efficiencies, if you will, for us.
Okay.
So when we brought Reveal in, we were using Reveal 11, and BrainSpace and Reveal AI were kind of separate entities. But once 12 hit and we were able to synchronize everything, we pretty much used BrainSpace and AI.
So the BrainSpace capabilities within the Reveal platform.
That's right. And so we typically utilize the AI piece for every matter. Doesn't even matter if it's a small matter. It's just a quick, simple flip AI on for yes or no on the responsiveness. And it's just so easy to utilize. It's so accurate. It just makes sense to utilize on just about every matter.
Well, what does that mean then for a matter for the lawyers and the paralegals working on the matter? What is it they are able to do they otherwise couldn't have?
It's a great question. They don't necessarily realize they're utilizing it because we're using it on the back end to promote likely responsive documents to batch. So as they're reviewing documents, they notice just about all of their documents are responsive, right? Until they get to the middle of the road and then it's yes or no. And then at the end of the review, it's mostly no. And so they don't necessarily realize that we're using it all along. They just know that the documents, as they go further in, get less and less likely responsive.
So if they don't know that, they must have at least noticed the change.
No, we've absolutely let them know it.
Okay,
It's not like they don't know it, but if we
But it's
didn't
not
mention
they're
it, they wouldn't
focusing
know
on
it.
it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, they just going through the document review, right? They're just going through, and sometimes this is more along the lines of contract reviewers that we've hired an outside firm that come in into our system and review documents. But it's changed how we view deduplication as well. Previously, everyone uses the standard SHA-1 MD5 algorithms, but what was eye-opening for me is with BrainSpace and using textual deduplication gets so much more than what you anticipated there being a balance of, right? I thought maybe a balance would be 5% tops, but sometimes textual deduplication, not near deduplication, but just textual deduplication gives you 50% more duplicates than you thought you had. It's incredible.
So explain for me what you mean by textual deduplication.
Well, if you open an email on your phone,
Sure.
okay, but we extract that email from Outlook, when that's deduping against someone else who's had the same email they might have read in their Outlook account, they are not going to algorithmically dedupe.
Right.
Because you used a different system to open that document.
So there'll be
than they
different
did.
properties there.
That's right.
Yeah.
So they're not considered duplicates in the eyes of the thumbprint or the fingerprint.
Right.
But the text itself is 100% a match. So BrainSpace allows us to dedupe on a much higher level and to remove all of the exact duplicates that the software didn't identify as exact duplicates. documents.
Now, are they removed gone, or are they removed? You can
No,
look
we're
at them or
suppressing
not
them.
look at them.
That's suppressing
Okay.
it. And that's a great point, because not every ESI order that we agree to has textual deduplication, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody agrees to algorithms, but unless you bring up specifically textual deduplication, you can suppress those, but you still need to produce them when you find their counterpart and you
Mhm.
apply them back to their duplicates and you reproduce those. I hope what I just said makes sense.
Oh, I think so.
Did you follow me? Okay.
I followed you. Yep. And
Great.
so to recap then, for review purposes, they only need to look at one copy. When it comes time to produce, they produce every copy where the text is identical.
That's correct, especially if textual deduplication hasn't been agreed to by both parties.
Right. Yep.
Sometimes we have that luxury. Well, we'll bring it up. It says, yes, do it. We don't want it. But it depends. Certainly depends. And we certainly don't break up families, right? We produce all family members.
Yep. What other capabilities have you been able to take advantage of?
Say again?
What other AI capabilities have you been able to take advantage of?
It's interesting you asked me that, because we've used sentiment analysis quite a bit, especially if we're doing an investigation, an internal investigation, or we're trying to figure out who did what, where, and how. We've utilized some of the sentiment analysis to help identify and locate non-normal behavior.
What sort of non-normal behavior can you find?
Well, using sentiment analysis, it helps you find kind of the outliers in emails where someone's angry or upset or is being deceitful.
Okay.
So you start using the information to help get you to some pretty interesting documents pretty quick, because you're looking for something with high sentiment analysis. Say it's you're looking for someone who's being unusual, then they unusual behavior. Okay.
Okay.
An email at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
or emailing an expense report to a Yahoo account,
Mm-hmm.
or using specific language that is sort of outside of their view, or typing in all caps.
Yep.
I'm really angry right now. Even though that may not be what they're saying, you're kind of saying that by typing in all caps, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
the language you use. It's just very interesting to apply sentiment analysis, especially if you're looking for, I wouldn't call it outsider, but outside the norm behavior.
Right. You're looking for anomalous.
That's exactly
Patterns
right.
in
The
the
word I'm looking
data.
for is anomalous. That's correct.
Yep. So you can look for ones where certain types of sentiment are expressed. You can look for ones, I think you said, that fall outside of a certain time frame.
Time frames, mischievous or deceitful language.
Okay.
It's interesting because you can read a sentence that doesn't mean something to you, but using the software analysis, it can say to you, look, he's using a verb over here with a verb over here and this noun. It may or may not mean the same thing every time you read it. So it's important to understand, number one, what the case is about, what you might be looking for. But we had a case, and I'm not going to name any names, but we were doing an internal investigation where it was found a salesperson may or may not have been flubbing their receipts and their expense accounts. Okay. So they had us go in and start doing some sentiment analysis. And I talked to Jay about this. We worked together on this. And we used some information about, well, this is high over here, this is low over here. And you'll have to forgive me. I don't have a eidetic memory where I can tell you exactly what we were doing. But we were able to isolate specific behavior that was outside the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And once we pulled up those documents and batched those for review, it was essentially what we were looking for.
So that suggests that, among other things, you can more quickly get to
That's
the things
exactly
you're
right.
looking for.
The information was always there, but
Yeah.
it helps point us immediately to it without going through a linear review, right?
What has been the reception among on the part of your lawyers and your paralegals and others working on matters
Well,
to these capabilities?
I think it's very important what you just said there is where they're amazed, and I've heard this over and over again, is as we batch out the documents at the front end, once the model's been set, everything's relevant. We're like, it's spot on. Everything is relevant. And then when we get to the non-relevant, it's iffy, the 50% this way, 40% this way. And then by the time we get to all the non-relevant, it's all non-relevant. So I think it's the shock of the accuracy. And I think there are new changes coming, right? We have generative AI that's probably going to at least help us affect the way that we view our own data, get quickly, hey, what contracts were signed on September 17th, right? You don't have to go through a series of queries to get there anymore. You can just ask the bot and it'll go get it for you. And that'll help with quick information. Hey, I'm writing a brief. I need to know this, this, and this, and evidence to support that. But in the meantime, like we're talking about tomorrow, don't throw the AI baby out with the next gen water.
That's our panel tomorrow.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is what we relied on, and this is how we built, our business over the years. It's still block and tackle, and BrainSpace and the AI and the next gen is going to be a part of that.
What would you like to see next in terms of capabilities?
Say again?
What would you like to see next in terms of capabilities?
Well, I think the next model is probably going to go along the lines, and what I've seen is doing document review, understanding, kind of getting an analysis of why it thinks a document is responsive or not. And I wouldn't necessarily want every reviewer to be able to notice that, but to particularly the higher end folks and the people running the cases, it's important for them to see why does the model think that this document is yes and this document is no. And it gives you, I've seen where it gives you kind of the examples of why it feels this way and who's involved and what companies are involved and what facts are involved that makes it think this particular document is responsive.
So helping you have a much fuller picture of why that document might matter.
And it helps you get a fuller understanding of your model and if you need to make any edits to your model, right? Because it'll immediately tell you, oh, no, you got this wrong. It's not relevant, and here's why. And you can edit the model. And another thing, you didn't bring this up, but another thing that I like about BrainSpace is the mobile model, right? We have had multiple antitrust cases across industries, different industries.
Right.
But we're able to take the antitrust model, remove industry terms, remove industry players, and then take the antitrust piece of it and plug it in elsewhere, and then just add the terms and players and industry terms for that industry.
Right.
Because antitrust is antitrust. So it's very important to me that your models, we can pick and choose what we want out of them and move them.
And something like the antitrust model, that's something you've built, right?
That's correct.
Yep. So you're able to build that model. You're able
yes,
to build
I'm primarily talking BrainSpace, not the Reveal AI model.
Yeah.
But with the BrainSpace, we can build our own. Now, your AI models have been great as well. Those are great for identifying multiple issues within a document set, whereas BrainSpace is great at identifying this is relevant, this is not relevant. So if you marry the two tools, you really get the full spectrum. So the issue coding is where we utilize the Reveal AI.
Well, I'm glad that you're getting value out of this.
Definitely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and we also are amazingly at the end of our time.
Okay, well, great. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Well,
I enjoyed my time today.
Thank you. So again, Eric Boyd is the Director of Litigation Support at Locke. I am George Socha. This has been eDiscovery Leaders Live, hosted by ACEDS and sponsored by Reveal. Eric, thanks so much.
Thank you. It's good to see you, George.
Likewise.
Take care.